Hey guys, I actually decided I'm gonna do this one from the couch that I watched the movie on, just because I don't feel like moving. Uh, Today I watched Cinderella, as you can see in the title. Um, I think that this movie, it has a lot of, I don't want to say issues because issues aren't the right word, but this specific rendition of Cinderella has an amount of issues. I don't think Cinderella conceptually has issues. I think that this version does. But before I get into that, I actually have something to say, don't I? Here it is. Hey guys, I was gonna move the camera, but I kind of like this angle. I'm coming to you live during the movie to complain about something that I've been meaning to complain about for these past few movies, and that is like the level of sentience that these things have. Because every like object, every animal, every like thing in a Disney movie has some level of sentience, and it's like to a degree that kind of pisses me off. Like, I think the worst one by far was the train in Dumbo. I'm filming this video. I'm pissed, bro. The train has a name. Like I was saying, bro. They just make anything alive. They just make anything a character here, bro. What he has a name? It's Casey Jr. He's a train. Because for no reason other than just because it could be, the train was alive. And so it would have its little moments, and it's like, I do not at all care about the train from Dumbo, but it's a character because they characterize it. And it's just like they like force everything to be a character, and they characterize it, and in that way they make you remember everything, and it's almost like cheating. It's like you don't have to build really any substance if you have a bunch of characters that you can remember. But I just wanted to complain about that because I thought it was kind of interesting. But I'm gonna go back to watching the movie. Bye. Wow, how insightful. Doesn't he just hate animals so much? I don't even know why. But I think it's important that I talked a little bit about like the anthropomorphism of things a little bit earlier, because it is my main issue with this movie. Because I did a little bit of research before this, and by a little bit of research I mean I scrolled on the Wikipedia page. Sorry that there's a bunch of noise now. I did a little bit of research before this, and I was like, does any like rendition of Cinderella actually have the animals from the forest in them? Or is this like something that Disney just adds because they like to have forest animals do things in their movies? And it's something that, at least for the most part, Disney adds to this film. So I'm like, you're adding anthropomorphic animals to the story of Cinderella, which now, because you've given them characteristics and made them characters and like agentic, they do things in the film. But because they're animals and they can't learn or grow or anything, they stay like stagnant objects of like the plot. And so they end up creating this like contrivance that a lot of Disney movies, at least like in the early stages, they have this contrivance of plot where things just kind of happen like just because they are happening. But now they've, instead of having things just happen because they are happening, they have it happen because there's some other element of the plot that they've like created to have it happen. So in this movie, all the animals, it's like, I'll give an example. In any other rendition of Cinderella, I don't know, like, well, I guess I can give like, because I've seen like a lot of renditions of Cinderella. I'm trying to think of another one that applies here. Man, I can't remember a single one. I've like watched like almost every single like version of Cinderella. I'll put up some of the ones that I've watched that I can remember up here. I can't remember a single one. They all like blend in my head. But I think the point I was trying to make was I can't remember in those ones any animals just doing stuff for her or anything. Maybe it's like a thing that is like part of the plot, but I feel like it's something that Disney like made part of Cinderella like after the story was established. Because in all of like the literature versions of it, it's just kind of like she like I don't even know, because I have something to admit. I am like the most knowledgeable on Cinderella movies, but the least knowledgeable on Cinderella in general. So I can say a lot about Cinderella as a movie, but I can't like really critique it because I haven't gone through and like seen or consumed much of the actual story of Cinderella. So from what I assume, animals don't just do everything for her in the original story, from what I like could gather from the Wikipedia page. So to have them be such like important characteristics and important like beings in this plot, and because they make her dress, they find the shoe that ends up saving her at the end, they like lead to her not being able to go. They seem to be the only things that like cause her any harm in her life, because there's no real conflict between her stepsisters and her stepmother and her. There's only conflict that the animals bring between them. And it's like, if you didn't add animals to the story, because there were no animals before, then it would make sense. You could just have these people who are flawed, and then this girl who you can see is just like fine, and then it makes more sense like why the story happens, and it's like, oh, the prince chooses the better person. But in this story, it's like the prince chooses Cinderella because she is Cinderella and not anyone else. And everyone else doesn't get chosen because they're not Cinderella. And it's like the only reason she's Cinderella is because she could manipulate animals. So I don't know. That's it. This is like she's Dr. Doolittle or something. I don't know. It kind of pisses me off. Like they could have just made a movie without animals. But maybe I just hate anthropomorphic animals. We'll see, I guess, when I watch Zootopia. But until then, that's been me. Subscribe if you like anthropomorphic animals. Unless you're freaky, then don't. But yeah, I don't know. There's an airplane coming, so I'm gonna wrap this up. This one's also really long. I'll talk to you later.